So with the way that I was raised, it is offensive to be called Indian. This is something that has been controversial for many years and something that we really do need to bring to light and find a remedy for. I am Native and I do attend many cultural events such as powwows and stomps, and I have even gone as far as learning some of the language and listening to the stories that they tell, as well as singing some of the songs that they have to sustain our culture. However, a lot of the stuff that we have has been watered down throughout history due to the loss of many of it. This all ties back to one historical event, and that is when Christopher Columbus came to America in 1492. So believe me when I tell you that natives do not like to be called Indian. After Christopher Columbus invaded America, yes, invaded, not discovered like the history books like to call it, many natives died. The women were raped and the children were taken away from their families, and a lot of the culture was lost. So why would we allow a government that takes children away from families due to race, as well as giving broken promises and allowing cultural appropriation to still occur today, call us anything than what we demand to be called? So like I said before, when Christopher Columbus came to America, he called us Indians because he believed he was in India. However, this could have been simply written off as a mistake if it wasn't for the fact that this continued to happen continuously over the years. In documents and in forms and in things that we even have to sign today, it calls us Indians. However, it's not consistent. And some natives do believe that it is okay to be called Indian. One of these natives was Russell Means. He was an important activist and leader in Native American history. He ran for president in the presidential election of 1987, as well as worked closely with AIM. In his book, Where White Men Fear to Tread, he explains that he does not believe that the word Indian comes from Christopher Columbus's mistake, but from the Italian word Indio, meaning in God. He also explains in his book that he does not believe that by changing Indian and American Indian into Native American would help anything, due to the fact that the government is still going to find loopholes. However, the government is still finding loopholes either way, and this is shown in many of the treaties that have not been followed through with even today. One of these treaties was the very first treaty between the United States and a native nation. The Delaware natives were known to be kind toward the white people and the colonists, and now the 13th states. And so in 1778, between the United States and the Delaware Nation, the first treaty occurred. This treaty was supposed to be for peace and protection from the British. However, it didn't last long, because in March of 1782, 96 defenseless Delaware natives were murdered. This treaty was also not like other treaties that were to come. It promised the Delaware Nation to become the 14th state of America. However, this was not possible due to the fact that it never went through Congress and was just another loophole to not give natives what they were promised. Another example of this was with the Treaty of New Echota. This was in 1835. In 1835, the Treaty of New Echota was signed by people who had no authority to sign the treaty. However, the treaty was signed, and it was meant to give the Cherokees $5 million to move to the other side of the Mississippi. However, we never saw that money. On top of the fact that that wasn't the only part of the treaty, we were promised a delegate in Congress. This was in 1835. We didn't get our delegate even approved until August of 2019. So, that being said, we also have cultural appropriation that we have to fight just to be proved as natives, that we have to fight. So examples of this would be, our culture is not your costume. Headdresses and buckskins are not something that you just wear. especially headdresses. Headdresses should never be worn on women. They are seen as a symbol among men who were worthy of it, and they were only worn during certain ceremonies. However, headdresses have been put on women, as well as the buckskins, and they have sexualized Native women. The sexualization of Native women has led to many things, which is one of the reasons why I have the handprint on my face. Due to this, many Native women across the country have gone missing and were murdered. So the handprint is the universal sign of awareness for that. Another thing with this is Native women 15 and older are 3.5% more likely to experience violence in their life, as well as the fact that 27% of Native women will experience 10 or more violent acts from the same person rather than the 18% of the non-Native women, as well as 10% of all female homicides in Canada are Native women, despite being only 3% of the population. So in conclusion, we have very few Native speakers left. Many of us can't tell the difference between a hoop dance and a grass dance. A lot of us haven't even been to a stomp or a powwow, nor even know where to even go to one. So why do we still allow the government to take kids, not honor their treaties, take away a lot of our culture, as well as let others around us continue to partake in cultural appropriation? Because we're constantly the educators. We're constantly answering the questions of, what's your blood quantum? How Native are you? Or how Indian are you? As well as, do you still live in teepees? So yes, I do take offense to the word Indian because of the history behind it. I am not a squaw. I am Native, and I am proud to be.
That was good.